Was Judas a son of the devil? We know Jesus Christ chose the 12 apostles. He intentionally picked every one of them. It was a decision that God made as sovereign. But who was this man, Judas? What was he doing before he came in? If the speculations about the meaning of Iscariot were true, he would have been from southern Judah, which also means he would have been the only one of the 12 disciples from Judea. The rest were from Galilee. Right there is the first whiff that he was a different man. He joined the group as a member of the body, worked with the apostles, and served with them as they served the Lord Christ. Judas was present for almost every great manifestation that Jesus Christ did. From the very turning of water into wine to the very last miracle he did before going to the cross to die. What impact did all this have on him? What kind of a man was he? Judas had visited upon him all the powers of the age. He could heal. He was one of those who were casting out devils, and the devils were responding to the authority in the life of Judas. Judas was healing people, and the illnesses were responding to the power in the life of Judas. Judas was with Christ every time, everywhere he was working. When he was feeding the 4,000 and the 5,000, Judas was there. When he was walking on water, Judas was there. When he was raising Lazarus from the ground, Judas was there. Judas saw all the teachings. He heard all the warnings about the Pharisees and the deadliness of their leaven. He heard the teaching of the parable of the sower. He heard about the god Mammon's deadly nature to comfortably wear God's clothes and sit on the throne of God in the heart of man. But Judas did not change. You see, Judas was a thief. A hardened thief, a brazen thief. He was serving a man who could read the thoughts of men. He was serving a man who could open blind eyes. Wisdom will tell you if a man can open blind eyes, he can also close them. If a man can straighten out crippled limbs, he can also cripple them. But Judas did not have any fear of that. He was stealing the money from a man who could read minds, a man who could tell the future, a man who could still the waves. He was stealing money from that kind of man. By the way, if this is a blessing to you, and you think more people need to hear this, help get the word out by liking, sharing, or subscribing. Continuing, Judas had all the powers of the age. He saw demons come out. He saw the dead rise. He saw all the miracles. It did not change him. Jesus Christ said, "I called all of you, and one of you was a devil." How could anyone have known he was a devil? He looked like the 11, dressed like them, did like them. So how could you know? What made Judas a devil? Well, it was the fruits of the life of Judas that revealed what the man was. What he did when he thought no one was watching revealed what the man was. The man was very comfortable, resting amid the power of God. And yet, he acted completely like a devil. Does it surprise you? Lucifer, the father of all men like Judas, was amid the presence of God, walked upon the stones of fire, was the cherub that covered, was there in the very face and presence of God. There, pride entered his heart, and he welcomed it and said, "In the presence of God, I will become like God. I will kick him off his throne and become God." Like father, like son, amid God, but not of God. Judas did not belong despite being amid all the glory. And this should be a warning for every man. It is not the power, the majesty, the glitz, or the razzmatazz that determines whether a man is in God. It is the fruits that are coming out of the man's life. An orange tree cannot give birth to mangoes. A mango tree cannot give birth to oranges. The presence of the Spirit of God in a man's life begins to reveal the fruits of the Spirit of God in the man's life. Judas shows us that a man can say all the right words. A man can cast out devils. A man can raise the dead. A man can raise the sick. A man can do all these things. And that man will still be called a son of the devil if what the man does in his free time amid his heart is what the devil does. Then the final insult. How does Judas betray his God? He goes and takes the breath that God breathed into him to make him a living being and breathes out that breath in the face of God as a kiss. The craziness is that in all this, the mercy of God was available to him. He could have cried out like David, like any man in sin and rebellion, and found that the very blood he helped spill would atone for him. He did not. He had heard, for God so loved the world and sent his Son, but Mammon had made his heart into a weed-infested hellhole that chokes the word, a highway for birds to steal the word. And we see how Judas ended. His place was taken from him. Was Judas a son of the devil? The words of Christ in his own mouth say yes. The fruits of the life of Judas shout yes, in the highest heavens, on the earth, and in the depths of hell. If you think more people need to hear this, please help us get the word out by liking, sharing, or subscribing or following as appropriate. Thank you, and God bless.